Seinfeld, the bikini, and Spam are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. It is July 5th, 2021. It is the 186th day of the year. There are 179 days left. It is the 27th Monday in the 28th week, and it is the 15th day of summer. You got 79 days left until fall. If today's your birthday, your birthstone is a ruby or an onyx. Today is National Bikini Day. On July 5th, 1946, the first bikini was worn and modeled. It's strange that we call it National Bikini Day because it didn't originate here in the United States. It originated in France, so maybe France can have a National Bikini Day. In 1946, the United States was far too conservative and they largely shunned the bikini. When the 1960s rolled around, you just had to have a bikini if you were a young lady. I don't even know if they use the word bikini anymore. I always hear swimsuit and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm out of the loop. I'm old. All right, let's see what else happened on July 5th. 1915, the Liberty Bell leaves Philadelphia by special train on its way to the Panama Pacific International Exposition. This was the last trip outside of Philadelphia that they allowed ever. 1935, the National Labor Relations Act, which governs labor relations in the United States, is signed into law by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. 1937, Spam, the luncheon meat, is introduced into market by the Hormel Foods Corporation. The square-shaped mashup of pork, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrate today celebrates its 84th anniversary. That's right, for 30,865 days, the Hormel Company has been stuffing pork in a can. Now, this is what's strange about it, besides so many other things that are strange about Spam. Only top executives know what Spam stands for. It's obviously was never a word until they came up with it. And there's some kind of strange secrecy thing going on with it. Most believe Spam is spicy and ham pressed together, sort of like the food itself. In the UK, during World War II, people thought it meant special processed American meat. That's not it either. But for some reason, they've never put out what it actually means. Spam was huge during World War II. It was kind of a new product, only created in 1937. The 40s was when we were in World War II. And it went with the GIs, made its way to England into the Asian Pacific Theater, where rationing was a big part of life back then. This became a menu staple, as they would say. The US military ate so much of it during World War II that when they got home, they didn't want to eat it anymore. So during the war, it became like a main thing, almost like you'd have turkey dinner and then you'd have other things with it. It was a Spam dinner with, salad and bread or whatever. But the GIs didn't want to eat it anymore, and it slowly shifted away from being a main course to just being like a little side thing, maybe mixed in with a sandwich or something like that. That's not the case in other places. Still, in Hawaii, Guam, and other island nations, it's a big thing because it doesn't mind the tropical heat. It'll stay on the shelf for months. It stays edible for years. Hawaii actually has a festival for Spam every single year on Waikiki. I don't know about last year, pandemic and all that, but they normally have it. You can find it in sushi places now. No, that's been going on a long time. It's not just like it's something new, but Spam is definitely part of American life, American history, and its iconic can has changed very little since they first started producing the stuff. 1954, Elvis Presley records his first single, That's All Right, at Sun Records in Memphis, Tennessee. 1973, an explosion in Kingman, Arizona, known as a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion, or this goes down when fire broke out as propane was being transferred from a railroad car to a storage tank. This kills 11 firefighters. 1996, Dolly the sheep becomes the first mammal cloned from an adult cell. They named her Dolly after Dolly Parton. I'm not even kidding. 2016, the Juno space probe arrives at Jupiter and begins a 20-month survey of the planet. Premiered on June 5th, 1989, Seinfeld, one of the greatest television shows of all time. I know a lot of people hated Seinfeld. I loved it. The first season I watched it, I wasn't into it. About the third season is when I really got into Seinfeld, and I love that show. So unique. And their last episode really sucked. I will admit that. I loved the show, but that last episode was just, it blew. It was horrible. Born on July 15th, 1810, P.T. Barnum, American businessman and co-founder of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. He died in 1891. A lot of people consider him to be the greatest showman of all time. He's also accredited with the old adage, there's a sucker born every minute, but there's no real proof of that. But most people attribute that to him. It's too bad. Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, I know there's a lot of controversy and mistreatment of animals and all that other stuff, but I went when I was a kid a few times with my family, and it was just such a magical thing, not knowing all the bad things that happen behind the scenes. It's been defunct now since 2017. No more Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Died on July 5th, 2010, we lost Bob Probert. Bob Probert was a professional hockey player, and he'd only been retired a couple of years. He had died of a heart attack during a heat wave in Canada. He was out boating with family, had chest pains, didn't feel good, got a headache. By the time they got in the hospital, he was dead. And it's too bad. He was very unique he was a thug, so if you don't know much about hockey, you got skilled players, you got defensemen, and you got guys that are just kind of thugs. They're kind of muscle for the team. There's a reason for that, so people don't take cheap shots at your very talented stars. If you take a cheap shot at someone like Bob Probert's going to come on the ice and give you a beat down. The best thing about Bob Probert, besides being a thug, he was a good player. He was almost what I would consider a skilled player, which is very rare for someone that's an enforcer. It's just too bad. He was a great player. Didn't get to enjoy his retirement much. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. And go out, have a productive day. Be nice to each other.